Buongiorno, mi chiamo Charlotte e oggi faccio un video sul verbo riflessivo o sulla frase riflessiva prendersi cura di qualcosa o di qualcuno. In inglese vuol dire to take care of or to look after. Allora, cominciamo. So today everyone will be looking at this reflexive Italian verb phrase, prendersi cura di qualcosa or qualcuno. So that means to look after or to take care of. Now, as you probably noticed, this is a reflexive verb. The verb prendere, the ERE verb, prendere means to take something. But with si, the reflexive pronoun at the end, it's obviously a reflexive verb. That means that you need to conjugate first the reflexive pronoun. You place that before the conjugated verb. So for io, if I am the subject of the sentence, then I would change si to mi, like in mi chiamo. I call myself. The mi bit is the reflexive part. Then you take the verb. Here we have prendere, and then you conjugate that verb. So prendere, and say the present tense for io would be prendo. So with the reflexive pronoun first, it would be mi, and then the verb itself conjugated would be prendo, mi prendo. Then we follow it with the remainder of the phrase. So cura di. That's like the care of part. Okay, if you're sort of back translating it. Per esempio, io, I, mi prendo cura di due figlie. I take care of two daughters. Okay. Mi prendo cura di 5 bambini. Mi prendo cura della casa. Okay, so I take care of 5 children, I take care of the house, dei nonni, my grandparents, or my car, or whatever. It could be your clients, for example. So there's a few different meanings, and in fact, in this, in the club handout this month, we've got some definitions that I've taken from dizionario. Oh, scusa. It's not dizionario.it, it's, well, I've got the link anyway. It's from a dictionary online. So we've got a little snip here of some definitions that I thought were quite useful. So, prendersi cura di, got the link that takes you to the original website where I've taken the snip from, just up here. So here are some sort of synonyms. Curare, to care for. Badare a, sorvegliare, avere cura di, to look after. Alimentare, that's kind of like to nurture or to kind of nourish, if you like. Allevare is to sort of bring something up, if you like. Far crescere has a similar meaning. And then if you're talking about, say, plants, because you can look after or tend to or take care of plants as well in English, you could use coltivare, that's an alternative synonym, or even curare. So we've got a few different meanings there. To take care of, to look after, to care for, that's a good one, to nurture or to tend, or to tend to something, depending on the context and how you're writing your English translation, or how you're trying to translate from English into Italian, if that's what you're up to. So let's have a look at the conjugations, and then we'll do some exercises to put the conjugations into context. Okay, and to also check your understanding of the vocabulary. And just to remind you, this is the handout that this is a video predominantly for, but not only for, Italian club members. So my Italian club members receive a monthly handout to their email. It's a digital version of this document. That's this month's one. So here we have a link to any resources that have been used or adapted, and a link to this video that you can click on and open anytime, and also a link to additional reading or study opportunities or activities, that kind of thing. Club members also receive an exclusive discount on any tuition booked with me, any blocks of tuition booked during the course of the annual membership that you've purchased. So if you're interested in that, just feel free to get in contact. There's always contact details underneath the video in the video description. Or if you're just interested in watching some of my videos because you have a specific language query and maybe I'm addressing that and you found me perchance, then that's great. Feel free to like the video if it's useful to you, and to subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. Okay, let's get to the conjugation in the present tense of this. Prendersi cura di. Okay, let's find a clear page. So here we have the exercises we'll come to. Okay, we might need to zoom in a bit here. So we're going to go into here. This is the whole phrase. Prendersi. And then the next bit is a noun, cura. That's like the word to care, or care noun. Sorry, it's not a verb to care. It's the care of something. Di is a preposition. It means of normally. Sometimes it means from. But in this case it's to take care of. Right? It's kind of word for word the same. And then qualcosa is something. Qualcuno is someone. Okay, so we've got cosa, which is thing, uno, which is literally one. Okay, so all in all, that's quite similar, word for word, to the structure of the English. However, here the conjugation is different. So standard conjugation tables will have like first, second, and third person singular, and then they'll have first, second, third person plural. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Io, me, that's the reflexive pronoun, which corresponds to that part of the reflexive infinitive verb, me. So reflexive verbs are made up of two parts. The reflexive pronoun, which is conjugated first and placed at the beginning of the sentence or the phrase, and then the conjugated verb. So reflexive pronoun corresponds to the person who is the subject of the sentence. This is in the io form. I take care of, I look after. So the reflexive pronoun is me. And then this second part is the verb, prendere. So if you take the verb prendere, which is this part here, and you conjugate it, you just take off the ere, which is the ending of this verb, and you add an o. Prendo. Mi prendo. Then you would follow it by the remainder of the verb phrase. So prendersi cura di is the verb phrase, the expression to take care of. Mi prendo cura di qualcuno. I take care of someone. So this bit here is the verb, or if you like the verb part, reflexive pronoun, conjugated verb. This is the present tense, so it's akin to saying I take care of, I am taking care of. I look after, I am looking after. I care for, I am caring for. Okay, there's two options of the present tense. In English there's sort of there's the present continuous, and there's the other one, for which I cannot remember the name at the moment. So the I care for, I am caring for. The I am caring for bit is the kind of continuous tense, something that's ongoing. And then the other one can be used in general, you know, like, oh yes, I care for 3 cats. I see my friends twice a week. You can talk about habits using that one. Let's do the to form. So when you're talking to one person informally, okay? So you take the to reflexive pronoun, which is ti, and then you take the to form, which is the first person. It's one person. Sorry, it's the second person, 1, 2, okay, second person, singular, as in there's one person you're talking to. So it's the second line in the conjugation table, but it's one person, so second person, singular. Almost got that wrong. Ti, that's the reflexive pronoun, and then you put the verb prendere in the to form of the present tense. Ti prendi cura di. Now the next one is lui, lei, he or she. But there's also a lei with a capital L, and that is the the third person singular, addressing one person or talking about one person, describing one person, but in the third line down of the conjugation, he or she, or the formal way of saying you. Okay, if you haven't done the lei form with a capital L, the formal form of address, don't worry about that for now. It's something you'll come to, but it's also the way that you say he, she, or it takes care of something. So you need the third person singular reflexive pronoun si. With ERE verbs, they end in an E in the third person of the present tense. Okay, so si, it's not si prenda, it's si prende. Now we're moving on to the plural form. So first, second, third person singular, all of these. Now we're looking at plural. So noi, that means we or us. Okay, we take care of. There's the reflexive pronoun ci. Then we need the verb prendere in the noi form, which in the present tense always ends in iamo. Ci prendiamo cura di. Okay. Voi is you or all of you. Y'all, if you talk, well, if you're American, you know, some people might say y'all. It's just a way of me identifying the fact that it's addressing you when there's more than one of you I'm talking to, as opposed to the formal lei individual singular form of address, or the to singular informal form of address. So voi, you might remember that. If you can remember noi, you might remember that voi is the next one. Vi, pren. So when you have an ERE verb in the present tense of the voi form conjugation, they end in ete. ARE verbs in the voi form present tense would end in ate, taking the ARE sort of a sound, and then ate, ate. IRE verbs like dormire in the voi form would have an I sound, so ite, dormite, parlate. This is the ERE verb prendete. Ecco. Cura di, take care of. Now what's next? We've got noi, that's we, voi, that's you all, or you guys, or you lot in English. And then loro is the subject pronoun for the final line. That means they. It could be they, a bunch of guys, they, a bunch of girls, or a mixed bunch, okay? Loro. So here we have the same reflexive pronoun as the lui, lei line, okay? Si. But we're using the third person, 1, 2, 3, plural conjugation of prendere, okay? Prendono, prendono with an O-N-O at the end, okay? Cura di means care of. So let's have a look. Mi prendo cura di, I take care of, I'm looking after, I look after. Ti prendi cura di, you, one person like a neighbour, family member, lover, maybe a colleague if you're informal, someone you know well basically. Ti prendi cura di. Lui, lei, he or she takes care of, is looking after, looks after. Si prende cura di. Noi, that's we. Like in my family, we do this. We take care of. We look after. Ci prendiamo cura di. You guys take care of blah blah blah. Vi prendete cura di. Those people over there, they take care of. Like my neighbours take care of. My daughters take care of. My friends take care of. Those girls, those boys, they take care of. Si prendono cura di. So there we have the verb conjugation table in the present tense of this reflexive verb phrase. Okay, it's a reflexive verb followed by something else, a noun and a preposition and whatever follows it. It's also worth noting that when you've got this or a preposition in anywhere really in Italian, but here especially, di, when it's followed by an article like il or la or I or le or gli or an L apostrophe, then this preposition and whichever article, aforementioned article, merge together, they combine to make a combined preposition. Yeah, or an articulated preposition it might be called in other languages. So, for example, di and il changes to del. Mi prendo cura del bambino. Or if it was la bambina, it would become della bambina. Or, I can't think of any other examples. Delle macchine, if it's of the cars. So you need to, let me show you that. Eccolo. Di più il fa del bambino, per esempio, della bambina, of the female child. So what we're going to do now is we'll look at some of the examples that I've put on my handout. Eccolo, and we will just try and find the right conjugation and write it in and understand the sentences. Okay? Andiamo. Dall'altra parte. I tried to make this easy. I've written in the subject pronoun up here, which makes it a lot easier actually. I would suggest that if you're receiving this document, just like try and go through the exercises, maybe separately on a piece of paper before you've watched this video completely. So maybe stop here, get your exercises, write down what you think the answers are, then come back, watch this part from here on, from about 20 minutes in, and see if you've understood, okay? Anyway, yeah. So this first one here, amore, cura dei bambini stasera, devo uscire. Amore, that means my love or darling or something like that. It's a pet term. Amore, cura dei bambini stasera, devo uscire. That means my love, something, care of the, so we've got dei, That means of di più I. So di plus I bambini. They. So my love or darling, could you or can you take? So ti prendi. That's the to form. So if you're addressing someone with amore or tesoro, you're addressing them informally. Okay, so tu is the subject and ti is the reflexive preposition. No, the reflexive pronoun, and prendi is the to form of that verb. Prendere in the present tense, okay? My love, can you take care of the children this evening? I have to go out. Devo uscire, I must go out. Due. So, io, I, am the subject, okay? Io, me, oh, what I've done here is I put the subject and I put the subject is normally used for like emphasis. So here I'm giving an example of someone saying what they do to take care of or look after their skin, okay? So io, me, it would be prendo. I've left the reflexive pronoun in there to make it a little bit easier for you. Io mi prendo cura della pelle. La pelle is skin. Con la crema idratante, with hydrating cream, moisturizing cream. E della crema solare, sun cream. Okay. Crema solare, crema idratante, sun cream or a sunblock, I guess, and moisturizer. So we've got tu, io, and the next one is lui or lei, or it's the lui lei form. It's the third person singular. Why do I know that? Because it starts with mia sorella, which means my sister. So the subject of this sentence is she, my sister. Si prende cura di, so we're talking about taking care of children in this instance. 3 bambini e anche un cane, 3 children and also a dog. Lei ha sempre molto da fare. Yeah, exactly. She always has a lot to do. So, si prende would be he or she looks after or takes care of. Or in English it could translate to he or she is taking care of, is looking after. Okay, like ongoingly, present continuous. Right, so here we have noi as the subject. Nella mia famiglia, in my family. So noi is the subject, and if we go back to the conjugation table, you can see that noi is ci prendiamo cura di. So that's what the answer is. Ci prendiamo cura degli anziani. Oh, that's not quite right. Degli anziani a casa. So what that means is, in my family, we take care degli anziani a casa, of the elders, of the elderly, of the older people, basically, nonni, le nonne, grandmothers, grandfathers, grandmothers. A casa. Okay, so we look after them at home. Degli, it would be gli anziani, that means the older people. The elderly, the elders. So di plus li becomes degli. A casa means at home or in the house, at our house basically. So the next one, number 5, is ragazzi. So that can be confusing if you're reading that, but I put a comma there to show you that I'm addressing people as ragazzi, which means guys or kids. So if I'm saying kids, blah 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 blah, I'm giving an order here. So this is like the imperative mood, if you like. Okay, so that will be if you have a verb book or if you go to word reference to the conjugation tool that they have, then you'll find all the conjugations. In fact, there's a link to one such tool at the bottom of this handout. You can find the imperative mood, and it's conjugated like a tense. Now in the voi form of reflexive verbs, you have a slightly different thing that happens. So you conjugate the verb prendete, and you put the reflexive pronoun at the end of it in the voi form. We'll just worry about that for now, because that's like a whole other lesson, using the imperative of reflexive verbs. But in the voi form, it would be prendete vi, in one word. So it looks like this. Prendete vi. Instead of vi prendete cura, because it's an imperative, I'm saying take care of. Hey guys, kids, take care of something. It's basically giving an instruction, which means it's the imperative mood. Excuse me. Ragazzi, prendetevi cura dei giocattoli. Children, kids, take care of the toys. Take care of your toys. Non li lasciate fuori. Don't leave them outside. Per favore, please. So, if it was saying, oh, I can see that you guys take care of your toys, which is not like an order, a command, an imperative mode, it would be something like, ah, vedo che voi ragazzi vi prendete cura dei giocattoli. Bravi. So if I was saying like, oh, I can see that you guys look after your toys, well done, that's good, kind of thing, then it would be vi first and then space prendete. But when it's the imperative, you put prendete first and vi at the end. Okay. And then the last activity. So we've had io, tu, lui, lei, noi and voi. Now we're on loro. So this is the they form. I have also written that here. Ho dei vicini gentili. I have kind neighbours. I've got nice neighbours. So that's not the bit that needs changing. Even though the first part of the sentence is io, I'm doing something, or I have something, the second part, attenzione, the second part is what the subject pronoun, or the subject that we need. It's quando vado in vacanza, that's still io, when I go on holiday, cura delle mie piante. So remember, context tells you who the subject is in the last part of this long sentence. I have nice neighbours, so I vicini gentili, my kind neighbours. I refer to them, I say, I have nice neighbours. So I talk about myself, then I talk about my neighbours, then I talk about myself again. When I go on holiday, quando vado in vacanza, and then I go back to my neighbours again. Si prendono cura delle mie piante. So just be careful, because the subject of the sentence, there might be a few subjects in different clauses of this sentence if it's a long one. So you have to make sure you understand all of it before you can complete the exercise. And especially when at the beginning of the activity you might have the person being addressed. Guys, my love, children, etc. So that can give you a clue to who is being addressed. Okay, and it's quite difficult sometimes to get that across when you're writing exercises for students to complete, but if there's a comma after it, that shows you that the subject is at the front sometimes. Okay, but here it is, my neighbours. So si prendono, they take care, because it's my neighbours. It could be my daughters, my sons, my aunties, my uncles, your sisters, those girls, those boys, the students, the children, the dogs, the cats. It could be anything. Talking about a group of things or people. So that prendersi cura di in the present tense is a reflexive phrase. And just remember that when you're using it, the preposition di will become combined with the article of the noun that comes after the phrase. So, for example, degli anziani, dei giocattoli, delle mie piante, del bambino, della bambina. So there's lots to look at there. If you want to look for some further kind of research on these things, look for prendersi cura di, prepositions, combined prepositions, reflexive verbs like the search terms, and also look for like conjugation tables where you can do some practices just by writing out the conjugation table that we looked at the beginning. See if you can remember it. Write it out a few times, copying, and then stop looking at it and see if you can write it out again. Say it aloud, read them aloud, record yourself saying it aloud, try and remember it, and then listen back to it against what you've written initially and see what you're getting wrong, so you can observe and correct your own mistakes. So these are great ways of, if you're structured, improving your understanding of verbs and thus rendering yourself more fluent. So practice makes perfect. Grazie mille e alla prossima volta. Ciao!